The concept as society perceive it of unloved is this ludicrous and obvious thing that everybody run away from, because they think that it's a lot of detachment, and where is detachment, then is depression and is sadness, which I think we have to see in a pragmatic way, because we can analyze more our thoughts without the distraction of others or on others people's dependencies and emotionally to us. When I started doing Unloved, I went through a really hard process with the person that I was dating for, well, not dating, on a relationship for a very long time. But then I realized I was the one in the relationship, but the person that I was, it wasn't, and it never was. Going to the point where you realize that is one way always, and you don't receive nothing in return, then it's when you get to the point that you feel unloved and you detach yourself from all the emotions that are related to that particular stage of your life. Unloved was a research, so it went through different stages. It came from an idea of a retrospective of myself, and then little by little I started to say, well, it was like my therapy to get out of this moment of craziness I went through, and an acceptance of myself, and realizing that I didn't have to chase for a ghost, I just have to chase for myself, and that will make me more complete. First, I always rely in music when I want to get out of a particular situation, because it always makes me feel that I kind of like can escape and like enter in this bubble where nothing matters by the projection of my thoughts in the computer and in the sounds I'm doing, and how I enjoy these moments where I'm dancing, or I'm like, you know, feeling that it's only me with me, and I can create this amazing stuff that then I can show to people, and people hopefully will like it. After that, I kind of like this, I did a first EP that it was called The Planning, because it was my planning and a strategy on what I'm gonna do now. I need to move alone. It was the first time that I live alone in my life. You know, I lived alone before in college, but it was the first time that I found myself completely alone, and with no any support at all, emotionally and financially. You know, life put me in this situation where I have to be more strategic and more focus in what path I was going to you know, be. I start deep diving into my life, and realizing that, wow, I could get more from this that I'm doing, and not only doing for myself, also show to people that is actually going through the same situation. Because, you know, during the breakup, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to actually be realistic or honest with the thoughts. Everybody thinks, oh no, okay, I'm fine now. So the person that is going through that is being dramatic, or is being stupid, or okay, he's a weak person. Oh, it's too much drama for me. And we don't realize that we all go through that. We don't really need somebody to tell us what to do, because at the end of the day, all this advice and this knowledge go waste. Because you never do what people advise you to do, and you never will. It's only when you internalize it and realize that you can move forward, is when you start like applying your own things, and it's when you really start grabbing the thoughts that you heard before, but you start listening it well after you get out of the leap you're in. So I decided to start doing a little bit more research of the sounds. So and I start recording things of my surroundings, and realize that one thing that you never do while you're in a relationship, you never pay attention to your surroundings. You never pay attention to what's nearby or what's really going on, and that's why when things change, you get hit really badly, because you didn't pay attention. And that is the main thing. So I start saying, okay, if I'm gonna do this concept more realistic, I have to put myself in that situation. So I started researching in different environments, but mostly in my basement flat, and listening to my friends and listening to the voices and listening to all these little sounds. And I start recording it with my stereo pair recorder. I'm building up my own bank of sounds, which I then wanted to build, that some of those sounds can be heard in the 7 tracks. That's the technical side. In a conceptual side, there is a big research from a guy called Danny Saffer that I met in Scotland, user experience in Scotland. I work as a user experience designer as well, so and an interaction designer. So I went to a conference and I went to see his speech, and he have this great book called Micro Interactions. Micro interactions is basically what define an interaction. You go through 5 stages. That is the stimulus, the trigger, the feedback, and then the loops. But then I realized that it was not only the triggers to turn on your TV or to interact with a machine or interact with an interface. It also interact with other humans. It's the same thing. Because whatever, even though if people don't want to accept it, humans are defined by patterns. And we all follow those patterns. And those patterns are the ones that build our character and build our emotions and what we are at every point of our life. So I understood that this is a pattern as well that is more generic than the rest of the other patterns that are more studied in depth. And I said, well, if the human have to go through this to interact with an interface, we are more benevolent with other humans. With a machine, we get angry and we break it and this doesn't work and we drop off and then we close and we're never going to visit the website or the application anymore. But with a human, we have this stupidity thought that we can change it. We can make him better. We can make her understand. And no, it's the way it is. It's the pattern defined. And then I said, well, if we apply these micro interactions on the emotional level, probably we can understand that every stage we're in during the breakup, and then we don't have to get into that so deep depression. So stimulus, I opened the door and I found my ex with another person, or they ditched me on a party, or they didn't follow, they didn't follow me where I have to, and I asked for that like ages ago. And yes, there were expectations, but I fulfill expectation, and everything becomes you tell me, I told you. And I realized, well, a stimulus is that moment when you realize in your head that that's not gonna work. It's a stimulating thought, something that actually changed. It's the cup in the dishwasher that was never clean. And then when you get into the kitchen, you say, fuck, this is never gonna work. And that is the point of enlightenment. A stimulus is the enlightenment when you realize that you've been played fool. Then the trigger is when you confront the person, when you actually are looking for answers. And the funny thing about triggering is that those answers never gonna be given to you from the person you're looking for. You have to find them yourself. And the only way you can do that is by pragmatism. Be completely realistic. Because the person have another process that you don't understand because it's not inside you. And that person probably blame you other stuff that if you were both pragmatic in that time, then both will understand what's the process of each. But the problem with relationships is that you fall apart so far at some point that you stop knowing who's who. And then what happened there is that there is no encounter. You are completely clashing. And then when you were triggering that and you try to confront the person, he or she won't answer to you. That's done. So the feedback is the next stage, and it's what you receive in return. And normally what you receive in return, people don't like it. People feel like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this reaction. Sometimes this reaction is driven by anger or it's driven by sadness. But we are so full of ourselves when we're triggering the action that when the person feedback, we don't analyze in the right way what the feedback is to us. So we take it in the wrong way or in the right way, but with the wrong reaction. And when that happens, then you get in this loop of, anger, and you tell me, I told you, and, the apocalypse start, and, you just cannot be with that person anymore. And the mood is how you stay, in that period of what I'm going to do next. This is all what I know. And then you died for what you used to be. Like, I have many close friends that I analyzed during this process, because during the Unloved concept, I did study a lot of people, and I do a follow-up into my interviews and conversations with them, not like, being upfront, because I realized that by being upfront with people or telling them that you are doing a research, the answers will change. So I went to many parties, I went to many places, and I did track down people and try to become their friends in order for them to deliver information for me. Unfortunately, if you want to have a good research, you need to deep dive in other people's brain. And they won't do it unless they trust you and unless they feel comfortable with you. So that's what I know, that Unloved is a concept. It's driven by facts and a base. So somehow, probably, if people listen to the lyrics and listen to the music, and not only that, but understand the concept of these 5 stages, then they will understand better their process without having to go through the whole darkness that you have to go through when you are living up that life. And then after the mood is the loop, that is the memory, and it's the remembrance that stay looping over and over, that can make you crazy and can bring you to your most darkest place, which normally what makes me get out of that dark place, it was friendship. And it was how the people that really care for me interact with me. Then I add 2 more tracks into the album, because I thought, well, after these 5 micro interactions, then things don't end up there. It's basically a way out, that is una salida, that is one of the tracks, and then is Unloved, because love is a dirty business. And then it's what brings me to the point that everybody wants to speak about how magical is love, and we dancing in the rain, and la 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 la, and I love you forever, and all the bullshit people like to talk about. In Spanish, we have different levels that we use to tell our affection for another person. Te amo, that is the maximum expression of emotions, sentiments, and feelings for someone, where somebody can trust you and can give you everything they want. Then is te quiero, that is what you have for your mother and for your father and for your siblings. You feel te quiero, it's like, this is the maximum deeply affection I will have with you without having sex. And then you go on and on and on. Te aprecio, te cuido, and all these kind of, different levels. There is no different ways of love. You either love or you don't. If a person don't love you to 100%, that person just cares for you. They have a deeply affection for you, but that is not love. Love is commitment, is trust, is confidence, is companionship, is be there. And it's not about, you don't have to expect anyone. You expect not expecting something, it's against human nature. Because we're always gonna expect love in return. Even your mom, with all the love she gives you, she will expect you to love her back. So there is no such thing as, oh no, I love and I don't care what people think. No, you always, deep inside, you are expecting somebody to return that what you're giving. And that is an investment of emotions. That is the 100% of your investment you're giving to someone. And when that is not given in return, you're getting 0, because love is binary. You do love or you don't. And then if you're not gonna have that at 100%, then you just have a lot of deeply affection friends where you can have sex or not, but you know it's nothing to the top. And you don't fall for them because you understand where you stand for. And that is the thing. We live in a world that is full of people that cannot commit. Not because they are afraid of love. It's because they are afraid of that you are not the top person they need at that time. And there is always the next person. There is always the next perfect person. Is this the most beautiful woman I've seen in my life? Is this the most tall, blondish girl I ever seen? Is this the most successful guy I ever seen? No. The thing is that nobody is perfect at the end. And nobody can reach that level of perfection. So no, if you really like someone, and you really know that the person is for you and you can commit to that person, then just fucking do it. Because there is nothing better than that. The next better person might have 1 foot bigger than the other, or 1 boob bigger than the other. So if you find it, stay there. I never gonna forget one of my exes 15 years ago, we were together and we break up because I was told that I was not enough. And then this person spent 10 years of his life trying to get back to me until the day he dies from AIDS. And that was a couple of months ago. So why he didn't stay with me when he got the chance? Because he thought was a better person after. And the thing is that then he realized that it was never the better person because what he was looking for, it was in one person. But once you use one bullet, it's really hard to go back. Because once the damage is done, it's really hard to trust again. Hence, I could never go back. And then I moved on to London, and then my life changed. And that's the thing. So it's so funny that happened, especially in metropolis like London, Caracas, New York, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Rio, Santiago, in all the capitals, in all the metropolis, Chicago. People have this crazy idea that the garden in the next door is greener. And it's the same color, it's just the light is different there, for Christ's sake. So when I talk about unlove, it's after you went through all this situation and after you build your character and you went through all these patterns and you realize that it's done, then you detach from your emotions. Because then you realize, I don't need human emotions in my bed. I don't need this. I don't need a pillow that is comfortable for me to put my head on and sleep well for the next day. I need a job that can fulfill my necessities as a human, to spend it with my friends. And those time and money I'm going to spend with my people. And if it's true that love comes when you never expect it, yeah, fine, whatever. I don't care. But I feel that while I'm unloved or when I'm detached from all this bullshit, my career progress so much faster and so much larger than I was before. I understand some people find that to progress and they feel like, okay, they can do it with a couple and stuff, and when they found love, fantastic. My dad and my mom did, my sister did. And a lot of people I know actually achieve that. Good for them. I admire that. But it's just not everyone is caught by the same scissor. And not everyone have the same pattern. So if you are in the situation of being in my situation, you don't have to feel sad or depressed for being that. You only have to accept that that's the way it is. It's what it is. And all what you have to do is continue. Move on until you achieve what you want to achieve as a persona, as a human. And then after that, if it happens, then it's welcome.